Hey, I'm Nick Zerps from Charleston, South Carolina, and I went to the student dialogue on race and ethnicity at Clemson. So just starting off as a precursor, we did achieve true dialogue, I think, in this session. There are many students who were able to speak their opinions, and we were able to be very open with each other. Able to be honest, and there wasn't too much backlash or any debating or any harsh words or anything like that. And so we were fortunate enough to have, I'm going to scoot this over a little bit, dialogue in our session. There were active voices. There were voices who were willing to share their opinion and who understood the concept of it. And there were some more reserved voices who maybe didn't speak so much, maybe only inputted one or two things during the session, but what they did input really had some meaning and some insight into it. And so we did have a good mixture of active voices and reserved voices. And I was kind of an active one. I don't really mind sharing my opinion. And I really enjoyed the dialogue section. I believe in dialogue. I believe in different people talking about something to work it out and finding common ground. And so I was more of an active voice in that. Our dialogue, it was really good on race and ethnicity. We were able to challenge just cultural norms and hearing about things and learning from others. We were really able to really just spark further dialogue and as well get a better understanding on race, on ethnicity, especially here at Clemson. And so just a run through of the course, there are pretty much three things that we did for this course. The first one was statistics. We all stood up and we were given a question, and it was a statistical question, which, for instance, how many African Americans live in South Carolina? What's the percentage of that? And one corner would be 15, one would be 40, one would be 28, and one would be 8, or something like that. And we were told to stand in the corner of what we thought was the correct answer. And this was actually a really interesting exercise because I learned so much. I think most of the students did because we learned that we were pretty ignorant when it comes to these statistics in our state and at Clemson. When it comes to just the population of African Americans and Hispanics in our state and at Clemson, because most of us got the question wrong, and so that was just really, like I said, it just showed our ignorance and gave us a newfound appreciation of, okay, well, here are the facts. Why are they this way? And so that was a great activity. The second activity we did was more of a personal perspective activity. It was the same function where we go and stand in the corners, but now we were asked a personal question, and we were told to stand in the corners, and the corners were either strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. And in this, the questions, for instance, could be, do you feel like your culture is well represented on Clemson? Or do you see members of your same race, or how often do you see them at Clemson? And so that was really neat, just to see how, as students, me and the other students who are in this dialogue, we see the same thing physically, but we perceive it in a different way. Whereas, I might agree on one subject, another student might strongly disagree on that. And so that was a really interesting learning tool, and just understanding, we all see things a little bit differently, and that may be because of an upbringing, or because of race, or because of ethnicity, or another factor. But that was really cool just to see how something I strongly agree with, someone else might strongly disagree with. And that was good to spark further conversation and just open our eyes up to how other people think and how other people feel. And, maybe I'm looking at something the wrong way. Or maybe, hey, I see one thing one way, you see another thing another way, and that's okay. We can still be friends, and it's not going to bother us at the end of the day. So the personal perspective activity was interesting as well. And the last thing we did was one of these, which is a social identity wheel. And what we did with this was it was different aspects of our life, such as our age, national origin, physical ability, religion, race, ethnicity, all these things. And then after we identified our own, we put in a pie chart out of 100% on how much we think about these things throughout the day, or how much it influences our decision making and our perception on life. For instance, for me, a huge part of my chunk, 50%, was being a Christian, because that's what I think about first thing when I wake up. That's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. That has a huge influence on my decisions and my attitude, and so that was 50% for me. Me being heterosexual was only 5%, because I don't think about that as much. I don't think, okay, I'm heterosexual when I walk out my room. That doesn't really pass through my mind. And some things that did pass through my mind at all most days was that my first language was English, or that my family ethnicity was German. I don't really think about those cognitively every day. But we got together with a partner and we shared ours, and it was really neat because for me, like I said, Christianity, religion was 50% of my chunk, and for my partners it was only like 5%. And so there are, in all the groups, there are big differences in a lot of these identity wheels. But there are also similarities. Like me and my partner had almost the same percentage for age. We both felt like since we are 18 years old, there's people who look down on us because of that. There's people who expect us to grow up because of that. There are younger people, younger children and students who might look up to us because of that. And that consumes some of our thought and decision making and attitude. And so it was just so cool for these social identity wheels just to be introspective for a second and to figure out what's important to me. Like, what do I think about? And is this what I should be thinking about on a daily basis? As well as understanding, what I think is important might not be important at all to another student. And so just seeing the similarities and differences in that was pretty neat, pretty cool, and eye-opening. Big time. And so those were the three things that we did, was just learn about those statistics, see our personal perspective on certain questions about our campus, and then the social identity wheel, where we identified stuff that we find is important and learn about other students and see if they thought it was important too. And so I went into this dialogue not thinking it would be very important or cool, but it was actually very, very entertaining, very, as I said, eye-opening. And I think that it's in Library 100 is because college is a time of growth and maturity, not just physically and mentally, but just intellectually as well, just how we see things in our world. And so I really think that this dialogue really helps students just to be equipped with the skills needed to present their opinions in an open, sincere way without, harming anyone or hurting their feelings. And I thought the dialogue was great. Just understanding that you don't have to make a debate out of everything, but just understanding that there are people that are completely different from you, but you can just talk about those differences and speak through them and find some common ground. And so I'm Nick Zerps, and I approve this message.